The Lions get the victory, and we get up to the booth, and it's Joe and Troy. And guys, this is an impressive win for a Detroit team who in week one, they go to Lambeau and they get rocked, and all the conversation is, man, you lose your coordinators, I don't know. But Dan Campbell's the identity of this team, isn't it? I'm curious, Joe, how much tonight is a reflection of who this guy is and how the team follows his lead?
Yeah, I think he reminded us all, Scott, about the way that he wants to do it. And if he's got another down and they can keep their offense out there, he believes in Goff, he believes in Amon-Ra. It seems like every time they need a big play, fourth down play, they're looking for number 14. Jared Goff is, and that beautiful throw and that conversion. When we talked to Dan Campbell about the communication issues they had in week one, we started to bring it up, and he said, I don't even want to talk about it. It was bad. We'll be better. It's not a problem. We'll be fine. And you know what? He was right.
Troy, not one but two 90-plus yard drives. They're able to run it with not one but two different backs, different styles, and then obviously you have the weapons at wide receiver. But the way they were able to really bully Baltimore, I think that's got to be incredibly troubling for Baltimore. They played two really good offenses. They couldn't stop either one. What impressed you most about the Lions offensively tonight?
Well, just the way they played up front with the offensive line. I mean, I do know that the coaches, as Joe said, Dan Campbell really didn't want to talk about it, and John Morton said, hey, we'll be fine. I talked to Hank Fraley, the offensive line coach, before the game. He said all throughout camp they were good. What happened week one, they did not anticipate. But you hear that a lot, and you've got to go then do it on the road. And these are young guys. They're right guard and left guard. They're young players. And as I said in the game, I think a lot of this season, fairly or not, is going to be determined by how those guys play, for a lot of reasons. But to be able to put those drives together against this unit on the road, is hard. And the environment is very difficult, and yet they executed flawlessly. So they can put all those questions to bed and feel good about what they did. But that was the most impressive part, because the rest of it, you expect Jared Goff. We take some of the things he does for granted, but you expect some of that. You expect that from Amon-Ra St. Brown and those backs. But the offensive line is the key. It has been the key for the Detroit Lions, and they look like they're in good shape.
Well, I joked that the Lions social media has all of our receipts at the end of countdown. There we were, all picking Baltimore, and this Detroit team sends them to a 1-2 record. They now go to Kansas City. One of those teams, either Kansas City or Baltimore, remarkably is going to leave that game 1-3, barring the most unlikely of outcomes, which would be a tie. Appreciate the time, gentlemen. Travel safely. Look forward to visiting next week, all right?
Thanks, Scott.
See you, Scott.
Thank you. Joe and Troy on the call of this Lions victory. And again, cannot overstate, it was emphatic. The defense, the offense, it was a complete victory. You see, they will head home to take on a Cleveland team. It'll be fascinating to see the Lions offense against that Browns defense, which has been spectacular.
I feel like the way we performed was a huge hole, but it's still the beginning of the season. You got a lot of work to do, and you just got to execute.
Lamar, I think you were sacked 7 times tonight. That rarely happens with you. What were you seeing back there that was causing problems?
Man, guys were doing stunts, and they had a spy, and sometimes the spy was grabbing my leg, and that's just what it was. Guys they were dropping in coverage. Got 3 safeties back there, and I'm just not going to throw a Hail Mary ball. I'm going to read the coverage out and then try to make something happen.
Lamar, you've seen spies a lot over your career. A lot of teams have done that. Did the Lions do something that was a little bit different from what other teams have done in the past?
Nah, they were just executing. That's all it was. They just executed.
Amon-Ra St. Brown is with me, and they're chanting your name after a road dub on Monday Night Football. Describe the scene for the folks sitting at home, what it's like to win the way you did and now enjoy what this moment feels like.
They traveled all the way from Detroit, wherever they came from, best fans in the world, to come out here to Baltimore and do what we did against a really good opponent. What they did to us 2 years ago, they manhandled us. So to come out here and get a gritty win like we did, it meant a lot to us as a team.
Look, you mentioned it, and I brought it up on Countdown on a number of occasions. It was 2 years ago. You're both 5-1, and we're all like, okay, let's see. It was like 35-0.
Yeah.
Jared spoke of it last week. Y'all remembered it. I mean, it's professional business. I'm just interested, how much does a result like that from several years ago still linger with you and fuel a night like we saw tonight?
Yeah, I think it still lingers a little. It was 2 years ago. We got new players, new guys.
Of course.
But for the guys that were here, I mean, when we came in here 2 years ago, we didn't have a chance. It was over after the first quarter. Offense, defense, special teams. I mean, it wasn't our brand of football, so we wanted to come in here and just show, how we can play football. Our brand of football, physical, run the ball, throw the ball. Defense played amazing. Hats off to them. Special teams played great. I think we just played complimentary football all the way around, and we came out with the dub.
Your fan base has a hunger that's understandable. It's been a long, long, long time. How much does your team reflect that same sort of appetite for what is potentially in front of you?
Yeah, I think, the fans, they're hungry. I mean, look at them. They're hungry for victories, for Super Bowl, playoff wins, just the history of Detroit football. And I feel like us as players, the guys that we have in our locker room, the culture that Coach Campbell and everyone has kind of brought to our team. I wouldn't rather play for anybody else than Dan and the guys that we have in our locker room. It's amazing.
What I said with Joe and Troy when we visit with them immediately after the game is, look, we know that some coordinators left, but Dan Campbell is the man that sets the course for this team. Dan Campbell is the man that you all in that locker room respond to first and last. How much is that reflected by tonight?
I think a lot. I mean, the way that we play, us receivers, I feel like the way we block, the line, the way they move, Jared, his resilience, the defense, how they run to the football, special teams is, taken super seriously. I think the way that Dan has just, brought this whole team together, I think he's done a phenomenal job. Like I said, to me, he's the best coach I've ever been around.
We talk about all three phases in this sport, and I mean, look, yesterday you saw how it literally is a three-phase game. I'm interested in what you saw your defense do. Lamar is a singular type talent. To keep him largely in the pocket, to sack him, I believe it was 7 times. Al-Qadim Muhammad, it felt like every time I looked up, he was grabbing him by the shoestrings. What did you see from your defense tonight?
I mean, they played amazing. When our defense plays like that, I think we're pretty hard to stop. We feel like we have a pretty good offense, but you combo that with a defense like we have, getting after the pass. I mean, Lamar's one of the best quarterbacks in this league.
Right.
One of the best quarterbacks to ever play this game. To get 7 sacks is insane.
Of anybody, but that guy in
right.
particular, just because at any moment it feels like he could break. I can't tell you how many times it was Reeder, it was Muhammad, it was Hutch. Like, I just felt like there was shoestring tackle out because they just relentless effort, which you've got to have against a guy like that, I guess.
I mean, hats off to them. They played great. Just being on the sideline, watch them. I mean, going up against them every day in training camp, I was like, I can't wait to just watch them go out and play. Hats off to Coach Shep, too, our DC, man. I think he called a great game. Defense played amazing. Shout out to defense, man.
No doubt, and shout out to you. Look, when you and I have talked about this in the last couple of years, I feel like you've always got some trick plays in the bag, and you're always in the middle of it, whether if it's a catch and a lateral or the pitch to Gibbs there around the goal line. You're always in the middle of those plays, and we talk about it. You're the emergency quarterback. Like, that's in your skill set. But when they call the 4th and 2 play for you at the end, what's the feeling as you're running to the line and it's like, oh, this is a good one?
I mean, honestly, I feel like for me, my heart kind of gets level. I'm not too high, I'm not too low. I'm in the flow of the game.
Stay neutral, right?
I stay neutral.
But it's not hard when you know it's a 4th and 1.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what the play is.
Yeah, I knew the play was. I'm like, okay, this is the play. But I think the play call was perfect. We got the look that we wanted.
Yeah.
Everything worked out. The play to Gibbs, we've been working that for over a year. Funny story. I mean, Gibbs in the meeting room this week, he goes, "We have that play up every week, and we never call it." I said, "Just because you said that, we're calling it this week." And sure enough, we called it.
On 4th and 1 on Monday Night Football. I shared with you when you sat down. I don't want to be the bearer of, like, it's not bad news, but when you scored, you were rather emotional, let's say. What's coming out of you in that moment? When, I mean, I get it, but I mean, what is that?
Yeah, excuse my profanity. SVP told me it was on TV. I'm sorry, guys.
I think people get it, but I'm just,
right.
There's mics all over the place. That's all I'm trying to tell you.
No, I was just excited, man. I think it was a big play in the game, a play that we needed at that time and moment. Big touchdown. I was just full of emotions. Got a little excited.
It happens, and I need to own something with you because as the show ends tonight, countdown, we all make our picks, right? Stephen A's here, Swag's here, Jason's here, RC's here, I'm here. we all pick Baltimore. And I'm sure your social media is going to have a field day, as they should, because you got to have the receipts. But I feel like we got to own. I don't think anyone was doubting. Everyone said, look, Detroit's really good, but Baltimore on this field tonight just feels like it's a steep hill to climb.
Yeah.
So as you go home with this victory, it's just how satisfying, even early in September, is it to beat this team this way on this night?
I mean, it feels good to come out here in Baltimore. Tough opponent, really good team. In my opinion, one of the best teams in the AFC. To come out here and get a win in the way that we did, I think, is the most important part. It's big for us. I think it's a big momentum boost for us going into, week 4. It's still early in the season. A lot of stuff changes towards the end, but this win was big for us. We're going to enjoy it. Tonight, we've got a short week now because we played on Monday.
Yep.
But we'll be back to work.
All right, listen, we did exactly what we said we needed to do to play complimentary freaking football, man. When we needed it most, every phase picked up the slack, man. That's how you win games against teams like that, man. And now you know what the barometer is like on the AFC.
You know what? I want to thank every player, every coach, everybody that's in this organization, because about a year ago, I was home, I was on the couch. So when you get an opportunity, you make sure you take advantage of it. I want to also thank the guys in my room for helping me out this week. Without them, I wouldn't have been able to do what I did today.
And Clark alongside. You get 7 sacks on Lamar Jackson, a guy who can extend plays and then absolutely crush you like no one else. What'd they do on defense?
Well, I think the first thing they did was they ran to the football. They corralled the quarterback, but they also finished. And here, I'm going to show you what, to me, is the play of the game from Aiden Hutchinson, a guy that's coming off of a horrific injury. He's trying to shake back into shape, and he's a player who hasn't shown what we saw last year through the first 2 games, but he was all there tonight. Here, when you see when he starts, he's going to be on the bottom right of this offense, of this defensive line. He's going to be Aiden Hutchinson to the bottom. They're going to give the ball to Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's going to step up inside and watch Aiden Hutchinson come to finish. Now, let's let the play roll now, and you'll see Derrick Henry is so focused on the linebacker at the second level. Aiden Hutchinson gets upfield. Now watch him retrace back, get to Derrick Henry, and punch the football out. To me, this is the play of the game. The Baltimore Ravens still have an opportunity to close this lead and close the gap. And Derrick Henry, who's an ultimate finisher, Aiden Hutchinson punches the football out. And now, if you look at this next play, we're going to get a motion down by Amon-Ra St. Brown. Nate Wiggins is going to have to motion to the top, and this is called top coverage. Top. Now, Marlon Humphrey is one-on-one with Amon-Ra. He sneaks into the inside. We see the post corner, and a perfect throw by Jared Goff over the top. Those 2 plays, to me, are the plays of the game and the way the Detroit Lions seal the deal amongst other plays.
That's a 4th and 2, and that's just Dan Campbell. There's gifts that involve wheelbarrows and Sam Cassell. If you know, you know. But let's just say that Dan's not afraid of the moment, nor is his team. And defensively, they fly to the ball. They had not 1 but 2, Ryan, 90-plus yard drives where they ran it. Jason was talking about it at halftime as an O-lineman, nothing that they enjoy seeing more than that. But I just feel like this is as complete a victory as you could have, and it's got to leave Baltimore really wondering who we are right now.
Scott, you said it to Amon-Ra St. Brown. We all picked the Baltimore Ravens, and it wasn't a knock on the Detroit Lions. I heard a interview that John Harbaugh did at the beginning of the season, and he said people who are saying Super Bowl or bust are silly. But we're not, because that should be the sense of urgency in this locker room when you have one of the best players in the game, when you have a stacked roster. You should be focused on the minute details that win you championships, and we didn't see that tonight. Nope. You know who we saw it from? The Detroit Lions. We saw it in their blocking scheme. We saw it in their physicality. We saw it in the way that David Montgomery ran the football. You saw it in the attention to detail in the rush lanes. The Baltimore Ravens, even though their roster says championship, right now their execution says home in the wild card round, home in the divisional playoffs. What I've seen tonight is the difference in between 2 teams who are squeezing and straining to win football games. The Detroit Lions believe that this is their year. The season didn't start the way they wanted it to start, and now they are trying to fix it. The Baltimore Ravens right now are a 1-2 football team that have only beaten the Cleveland Browns.
Right, and they have to go to Kansas City next week to Arrowhead to face a similarly desperate record-wise 1-2 Chiefs team. Derrick Henry, think back to that that Buffalo game. He's downhill. He's running over people. A fumble helps open the door. Tonight, another fumble, critical. His comments afterwards about fumbling the ball yet again. That's 3 in 3 games.
Awesome words, man. Keep working in practice. Try to put emphasis on it in practice and try to work on it as hard as I can. Just crazy right now. 3 games straight that happened in my career. Straight fumbles in critical moments. It just, yeah, it ain't a good feeling. I apologize to Flock Nation, and I'll just keep working and get this fixed.
Is there, Derrick, when you talk about working on it, is there a technical thing that you can even work on? Like, how do you work on it?
I guess just try to implement those situations and be more cautious and just try to hold it as tight as you can. Now, I didn't see the guy coming from behind. Just got to hold onto the ball. He made a play, and I don't know. Just got to keep working. That's all I can think of. This sucks right now. That's
Derrick, we saw obviously you were upset on the sideline. Lamar was talking about it and said, there's still more game to play. It didn't take us out of the game, but when something like that happens, is it pretty tough to kind of recollect yourself and think about the opportunities that remain? Does it take a little bit of time?
Yeah, I mean, I'm my worst critic, so I'm gonna watch the film. Or continue to watch it. I know we got a short week, but just crazy, man. Just 3 fumbles straight. Trying every day to fix a problem. It just keeps occurring, so I'm trying to work on it, man. I'm my worst critic, so I'm not gonna try to beat myself up too much, but it's hard not to when it's consecutive and consistent me doing the same thing.
You saw in real time he was inconsolable on the sideline, and then you showed how Hutchinson's able to get it. That's such a skill in today's NFL.
It's changed, though, Scott.
It truly has.
You remember, back in the day, it was how physical can you be? Can you jar the ball from the receiver? Can you jar the ball from the running back? Now, guys don't even try to tackle. Isaiah Rodgers with 2 punch-outs yesterday. Aiden Hutchinson is solely focused on getting this football away from Derrick Henry. But this is another form of playmaking.
No doubt.
This is another form of giving your team an opportunity to win that goes above and beyond what the X's and O's are.
Most important thing said during 2 hours of countdown was when after we picked Baltimore and Swag said, Madubuike being out, that concerns me a little bit.
Yeah.
Big picture for Baltimore. You are what your record says you are. They played 2 good teams. They lost to both of them. You still believe the same way you did?
I don't. I don't believe the same way I did because I picked this team to win the Super Bowl.
So did I.
A team playing the way the Baltimore Ravens are playing can't win the Super Bowl. A team that doesn't execute in critical football moments can't win, and that's what we've seen from them.